Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 79 of the CornerBlue. Hard to believe. Andres and I were just talking about us almost getting to episode 80 and going into our fifth year. I honestly just couldn't believe it. It feels like yesterday that we started this show. So
Crazy.
here we are. Again, ready to talk about La Selecta. World Cup qualifiers coming up. The U17 is having a tour in Europe. So lots of exciting things going on for La Selecta. How you been, Andres?
Good, Hugo. Good to talk to you. Yeah, it's crazy to believe this is our second final round of qualifying that we've covered since we started the podcast. Time is flying, man. And of course, it's always a pleasure to talk about La Selecta. And basically, what this show's been doing all this time is a space to vent and also to get away from a little bit of the toxicity that surrounds La Selecta at times and just commiserate and enjoy the highs and deal with the lows. So, yeah, 5 years that have gone really quick. We're not quite there yet, so maybe we'll do some retrospective stuff for the 80th episode. But today, yeah, let's get into it. I mean, the qualifiers are right around the corner. There's been some interesting things coming out of El Salvador. Oh, yeah, that's right. The main scout was named for La Selecta. A certain Hugo Alvarado, Don Selecta Talent himself, was named official scout of La Selecta by the powers that be in La Federación. Congratulations, Hugo. I want to start off with that. And maybe can you walk us through what that feeling was of flying in to El Salvador and taking that famous walk from the parking lot of La Fesfood into their media room. You know, we've seen so many different characters make that walk throughout the years. Walk us through it. How was it?
Yeah, it was a surreal experience, honestly. I like you said, I've seen many do that walk. I never thought I would be one of them, and to walk into that room and being full of media. In fact, there were a few people who were part of the conference who said that it felt like a World Cup press conference almost because it was packed. Yeah, I mean I had been in conversations with Yamil Bukele, the president of the National Institute of Sports, and it's actually something that started back in 2020 before I was named the scout for the first time. I had a few conversations with him to ask for support with getting some of the paperwork done for some of the players that I had found. As most of us know, back then, the relationship between government and fast food was not that great. So, it was difficult to
Water and oil. Yeah.
to collaborate, and eventually, I ended up being named the scout, and then we kind of lost contact, but during the Gold Cup this year, he reached out. He reached out and he said that he had been talking to the committee, the normalizing committee, about me and how we wanting to scout for more players from abroad, or at least call up some of the players to see some of the players that had been part of the processes in the past and who hadn't had an opportunity this time around. And he asked me if I would be interested in something like that, and I didn't think about it twice, And things move very fast, Within a couple of days later, he was calling me and said, "Hey, he actually, the coaching staff called me with Yamil there, and they asked me to. They had heard from many different people about my work, and we have a very important qualifier ahead of us, and we wanted to, make the best out of it, prepare in the best way possible, and that includes having the possibility of looking at more players to increase the player pool of the national team. And they were like, "Can you fly to Houston right now?" And I was like, I was in the middle of my busiest conference at my work, and I had to, unfortunately, I said yes, I love to do it and join, but I'm not able to travel right now. So maybe the following week I can go to El Salvador and we can meet and go from there. So things just happen, they move very very quickly, and in a very professional way, very very different than what I had experienced in the past. This time it was more of a send us your itinerary and the flights that you like, and then we'll get them for you. So
Nice.
it was definitely a different treatment than what had happened in the past. Not that I'm necessarily complaining, but in the past it's been more of me kind of pushing for things. Except when Diego also took the initiative back in 2020. But we was during COVID, and we did everything via Zoom, so it's a completely
Like
different
here.
experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it was a completely different experience to go over there and have meetings with the coaches before, during that whole week leading to the conference, and then just being there. And a lot of memories just kind of went through my head, all the times that I thought of stopping and quitting, and not that I had a lot of those, but I would say in recent years, due to some things that had happened during my contribution with the national team, um, and going through all the changes, and me kind of always being up in the air and not knowing what's going to happen.
Your status.
Yeah, for a moment I was like, you know what, I'm putting a lot of my time into this, and I don't think my work is being appreciated. So what happened this time around kind of just it gave me a sense of belonging again, gave me a sense of my work. It's actually, I can contribute to the national team, which has always been the idea behind Select the Talent, and being able to do it at an official level, and getting to meet and work with someone like Bolillo Gomez, who's been to 5 different World Cups. It's just a great experience, and also taking it with the highest responsibility and professionalism possible, and trusting that I am able to contribute to this process. So it's a great experience, and obviously I feel proud of where I've come, through all these years, and being able to, after 15 years, to be there and be part of it in this capacity. It was a pretty amazing experience.
I bet, man, because I think just the visibility of it all being in the flesh, I think also allows, your work to have visibility, to have that presence in the sense that it must be hard, doing it all remotely or from LA, and just I bet bridging that gap this time around in an official manner with the pump and stance that accompanied it. I mean, I bet this will have an impact. I'm hoping for whenever the next board of directors comes around, or whenever the next coaching staff comes around, that that they're aware of the work that you do and your contributions. And I think it speaks for itself that if you've been able to be around for all the different coaching staffs, the different campaigns, and with each one, there's been a certain level of contribution. I think that speaks volumes that, it's not that you're just part of one staff and you're involved in the politics of it all, and then you're out. Like you found a way to in some cases linger because I know how hard it's been for you in certain circumstances, but I feel like you've been able to make those solid contributions that have spoken for themselves. So man, like congratulations. Like that whole time I was super stoked to see how things were playing out for you, man. And as a part of that, how are you feeling about the next window? It's coming up. So what's on your task list heading into the next window?
Yeah, well, we got to work immediately upon arriving. I arrived Sunday night, and Monday we were having meetings with the coaching staff. And as I mentioned in the press conference, the coaching staff had a very clear idea in terms of where our needs are, and my job is to provide options. And throughout the years that I've been doing this, I have some options. So I think it was good for them to hear firsthand about the possibilities, the characteristics of certain players, and just give them some of course names and some of what I have observed, and then they do their follow up to see what the current the current status of those players. Because there's
Fitness
one thing,
level,
right? It's
minutes.
exactly, and then they start doing their own follow up with in conjunction with me, sending information over, and watching games and footage. So yeah, I mean, hopefully, we get to see some new faces in the next call up, and that's the whole idea behind this, to create a higher competition amongst the player pool, so that that's always a healthy thing to have in any national team or any club as well. The more competition you have, the better, because the players who think that they have a spot secure, perhaps they don't, and it makes them realize that they have to push harder in order to stay in the call up. So yeah, I mean, the what we have at hand is the next game, Guatemala, and that's Guatemala and Suriname, and as we know, there are players who are suspended, who have red cards. So there's the need to also try to find more options in those positions, because that's what we have in front of us. The next two games, that's the most important thing right now, and then we'll have a whole month to to continue following the local players, to see how their performance is going, and as well as the players from abroad, and just continue just creating more competition internally, and making it harder for the coach to decide as well.
So the door's been open a little bit more, you could say.
I believe so. I think that prior to the Gold Cup, I think that the coach knew that there were two important games ahead of us, and I think the priority, given the lack of time to work and prepare the team, was the local players, because those were the ones that were there available to do the microciclos and everything. And but now that we have a little bit more time to do more scouting and look for more options to broaden the spectrum of possibilities, I think now we are looking into that.
So we're in the midst of the dog days of summer, and I can't help but to find a comparison to where La Selecta is right now with where baseball teams are usually, like right before the end of the trade deadline. And usually in baseball, like if you're in a good position and you need to pick up players, you turn into a buyer. So you try and find the best players that are available, and you make some trades and you set up your team for a playoff run. But then you have the teams that are, right on the brink of their season's pretty much over. Their aspirations are next season, and so they start selling off their players. I feel like La Selecta's right on the fence where we're we're one or two games from, let's just ride the end of the wave out and rebuild for next year. Yet here we are in the midst of bringing in some pieces that hadn't appeared recently. And I'm hoping that if that does happen, that they're able to hit the ground running. Like, I've spoken to some friends and including myself, I don't really feel this feeling of optimism. I know you're the eternal optimist when it comes to La Selecta, Hugo. But I feel like there's not too many expectations due to time ticking and the overall sense of not having enough time. What is your sense in terms of, do you your feeling of the next match window?
Look, I think that, like I always say in football, soccer, there's always the big mental component, and I feel like things can shift very quickly. And I always use the Panama example, the diluvio, where Panama, although they were not at the level that they are now, but they were already an up and coming team. They were the favorite, and we were not expected to go through that round. And after that game, yes, we didn't qualify to the World Cup, but a lot of things shifted. So
He's referring to El Lomazo in 2009. Or was it eight?
hello,
It was 2008, right?
2009, I think, or 8, maybe it was
I think it
2008.
was eight. Summer of '08.
Yeah, right. So yes, I mean, if we look at what happened in the Gold Cup, obviously everybody knows that Guatemala right now, the perception that everybody has of Guatemala is very, very good. After winning the third spot in the Gold Cup, and we are on the other side where we didn't win any games, and some people think that we're going to get destroyed, and and I think that, for me, I think we can just look at it as a way to motivate ourselves and go into that game in Guatemala. And if we get a positive result, when I say a positive result, getting a point in Guatemala City will be a positive result for us that can just create momentum, and we can build on that. So I do think that the first game is going to be crucial. The first two games, obviously, when you're visiting, there's always, since it's the first game, you can always afford to lose, but you have to win at home. You're obligated to win at home. So I think that if we could, get 4 points out of the six, I will be satisfied. And yeah, so my optimism is always the same. I do think that there's a
Bless
lot
your soul.
yeah, I mean, there's always, a lot that we can improve on, and hopefully with my incorporation into the staff, I can bring in my contributions, and hopefully that turns into an overall improvement of how we play, and get better results. That's always the intention, and now that I'm in it, I'm in it officially. Everybody knows that you have to be the first one to believe in yourself, because if you don't believe in yourself, then that's going to show on the field. So, for me, we have to continue dreaming and looking at this as a once in a lifetime opportunity, where we are five games or six games away from making history. So, and I know that everybody is looking at it in the same way. But when we step into that field, we have to believe that we can win, that we can get the 3 points. Because if we go in with the mentality of, oh, Guatemala got the third spot in the Gold Cup and we couldn't even win one game, we already down 1-0 if we go in with that mentality. So for me, we're gonna go and give it our all, and I'm hoping to be there in that game, which is another thing that I'm pretty excited about, and 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 yeah, I mean, I think things can change. That game is gonna be important because I think how we perform in that game could pave the road for what's next, regardless of the result. I think if we have a good performance, I think people can start looking at us differently.
Yeah, big question marks heading into September. I think the main thing is if whoever gets called up hits the ground running, I think we can hope for some good results. But I think part of the coping mechanism is always being skeptical. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. Just with the clock ticking and the condensed, window of time for the preparation the last couple of months, it's been hard to, feel confident, I would say, in the possibilities of getting through. Albeit, yes, like, a last round with these teams, it seems doable. I was looking forward to Cusca, being our fortress for these matches. It will be for the first home game against Suriname in September, but then we got the bad news that good old Axl Rose and Guns N' Roses are booked to play a gig at a Cusca like 6 days before the match against Guatemala. And yeah, so it seems that Cusca is not going to be the home stadium for those two matches against Guatemala and Panama. To me, it's a huge bummer. I'm not gonna lie, just because I was hoping, thinking, I had in the back of my mind of if we're alive at that point, I would totally go to Cerro to watch these matches. Just imagining at Cusca, right on the brink of a qualification, the possibility of getting those points, of opening the door, I'd say, because if we were to be alive and in the qualifier and get those two wins at home, I feel like that would open the door to, a renewed sense of optimism heading into the final window and in November. But hearing, that Cusca is not going to be the home stadium was definitely a disappointment in the sense that, it is our fortress. It is like the maximum expression of our footballing culture during qualifiers. During qualifiers, is at Cusca full, loud, pressuring the opposing team or its own players or the referee or whoever it is. But at Cusca at full volume at on turbo mode, it's one of the greatest things that I've experienced as a fan of different sports. And to hear that it's not going to be used was just a very big bummer. I mean, I appreciate and Mexico Gonzalez, ex Flor Blanca, I was able to go this year to watch a match, but the environment is night and day. And Mexico was a very family friendly setting. No booze. Everyone's pretty much on their best behavior. You're a little far from the pitch because there's the track there. So I think, granted, it has nothing to do with whoever's on the pitch, but it definitely is this motivating piece for a fan to watch the spectacle, to be part of this. Like, I don't know, it's the ultimate expression, I guess, of what El Salvador is in terms of football. So yeah, I'm still torn about that. I don't know what was your instinct with it. I mean, for me, it's a total fucking bummer.
Yeah, I mean it's unfortunate when you don't have your own stadium, and at the end of the day, the administrators have to make money, and I'm sure they're probably making more money off of a concert than the national team. Yeah, I mean, I've also always thought that El Cusca is one of our weapons, that we have, because that's what other teams have said. That it's hard for them to play there. However, since 1982, or we haven't been to a World Cup, and we've been playing it in El Cusca. So, yeah, it's a bummer, because El Cusca has a different vibe. I was able to be there for the first time in a friendly match last year, and just the proximity of the field to the fans is it's something that can put a lot of pressure on the opponents, and you don't get that at El Mágico.
Yeah, the heckling hits a little bit different when
Yeah,
you're right next to them. Heckling,
right.
to put it nicely.
Yeah, so it's a bummer, but it is what it is, and I think it sounds like the decision has been made. Some people have said, "Oh, maybe they can move the concert to El Cusco," but I don't think it works that way. I don't think it's that easy
Oh,
I
to
mean,
move to El
to El
Mágico?
Mágico,
Hmm.
yeah, move the concert. I don't think it's that easy because the promoters already have a venue. It's been announced, the
Number of tickets and whatnot.
number of tickets. I don't know how, if the numbers could be similar for a concert. I don't know, because the layout is different.
Yeah, it depends. I saw Santana out there back in '04, and they set up the stage along the long side of the pitch. So across from like the grandstand. That's how they did it
Hmm.
back then. But I mean, at Cusca can see, I think, almost double the amount of people.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think it's unlikely. I think we should um, be thinking of, it's going to
I
be at El
remember,
Mágico.
I remember
That's
there
it.
was a campaign on social media, the early days of social media. I forget what band it was, but someone in El Salvador started this hashtag in the name of El Salvador to like tell a band. I don't know if it was like Megadeth or some heavy metal band to go play in El Salvador or Metallica, and it didn't work. But like everyone or a lot of people got behind it. You saw the hashtag. And I'm just like, wouldn't it be ironic if we started the hashtag in the name of El Salvador and then tell a metal band or a band, rock band, to not come to El Salvador? Like, but you can only dream. I mean, the main thing is, as a fan, you can't replicate El Cusca. It can't be replicated at LA Coliseum. It can't be replicated at Galaxy Stadium. I haven't been to Houston, so I can't speak on it. Definitely can't replicate it at PayPal Park in San Jose. But just there, just that maximum expression of the footballing culture, and to have it dulled a little bit, it just kind of ticks me off. But I think we'll move on from Cusca. We'll see if anything changes. Highly doubtable. Uh, but if we're alive, I may consider making the trip out there, or else I'll just end up saving that money to catch some games of the World Cup next year, because who knows how expensive it's going to be. All right, and then just to close out, I think we've seen all the publications. It's been that story that's been lingering in the news cycle and in the sports media outlets in El Salvador. It's kind of gotten old, but finally, it seems like it's played itself out. We got quotes from the president of the regularizing committee saying, I talked to Roldan directly. He said he doesn't want to come. I think that basically is a good bookend to that. There's been other rumors, there's been other comments, but I don't think we're actually ever going to hear from the player anytime soon. So for now, we can't really speculate about the reasons for it. Maybe one day we'll know, but at the end of the day, dude just does not want to put the kit on for whatever reason. And I'm assuming it has to be something super personal, just for the fact that different administrations have gone by. It's been years, couple of years since he last played. Different coaching staffs, a lot of administrative woes, of course. But I feel like not giving a clean slate to this current administration or the current coaching staff just seems a little too excessive. So you can only assume, as I mentioned, that it has to be something very, very personal. And if it's that deep, then you just let it go. So it seems like that story has run itself, run its course. And I think the best thing is, okay, one chapter's closing or we get a confirmed closure on that. But with this player pool opening up, like you mentioned, Hugo, it only adds to competition. It only adds to, players knowing that if you're going to get called up, you got to be on your best game. Or at least we hope that. Right now, the teams playing in the Copa Centroamericana have not been doing so well. The U15s have had 2 losses in a row. You mentioned Hugo, U17s. What were you going to mention about them?
Yeah, the I think Indes, I think they're the ones organizing a tour of Europe where they're gonna play. I can't remember the exact names right now, but they're gonna play 2 youth teams from La Liga
Oh yeah, 2 in Spain.
And Olympique de Marseille in France. So I think it's a great experience for the kids. What they need is games. They need to get games in there and playing against those clubs that have a really good infrastructure and a really good youth system. I think it's going to help the players a lot, especially to lose that. I can't remember the term right now, but that el pánico escénico, at least some. I mean, obviously, the World Cup will be different than playing at the training fields of some of those clubs. But at least I think it starts building confidence in them to know that they're competing against those teams.
They start getting used to the jitters.
Right. So I think it's a great thing. And I remember in the press conference, Yamil also mentioned that he's working on something with the Moroccan government to have the Moroccan national team come to El Salvador and play. I think the youth is what he was talking about. The youth teams to play against them. So yeah, it's a good preparation for the U17.
All right. Well, I think with that, we're going to wrap up this episode. We're right around the window, folks. So if anything comes up, we'll definitely be talking about it. And until then, just, I don't know, pick optimism, skepticism, whatever your coping method is or feeling about this. Let us know about it in the comments when this comes out. Of course, you can catch it on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and I'm not sure if it's on iHeart yet. I'm not sure, so don't quote me on that. But in any case, we appreciate you guys for tuning in. We're almost on 5 years, so we won't get too into it this time, but we'll reflect next time for sure. And we appreciate all of you. So take it easy, and we'll see you soon.